The global pandemic COVID-19 has already had a significant impact on the global trade and economy, with consequential impact on the global and Indian financial markets. This may also have an accounting disclosure, internal control, and auditing implications for many entities. Given there are increasing restrictions on travel, meetings, and access to client locations, auditors would be facing practical difficulties in carrying out audits. These underlying situations, however, must not undermine the delivery of high quality audits. Audits should continue to be planned and performed in compliance with the auditing standards. To enable the auditors to perform audits, additional time may be required and alternate audit procedures may need to be performed in order to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. In this video, we discuss key advisory to auditors related to conditions that may arise as a result of COVID-19. Auditors must carefully evaluate unique circumstances prevailing in their audit and assess the risk accordingly when applying the concepts of this advisory in performing their audits. The outbreak of COVID-19 can have a number of potential issues for entities, particularly entities that operate in geographies that are significantly exposed to the outbreak. In addition, there could be an impact on those entities whose vendors, bankers, suppliers, service providers are in geographies that are exposed. Due to the above conditions, entities and auditors would have to evaluate additional risks arising in the following areas: operational disruption resulting in any changes in the business model arising from significant drop in demand, reduced customer base, disruption in supply chain, employees' absence or work from home, geographical implications of group operations, public lockdown, etc. Second, contractual non-compliance resulting in contractual breaches, additional security requirements, or stressed asset valuation. Third, liquidity and working capital issues, given by the reduced impaired ability to service debt or replenish working capital requirement due to possible lower cash flows. Fourth, asset valuation. Downward asset valuations may trigger legal and compliance issues or lead to liquidity challenge. In applying SA 315, identifying and assessing the risks of material statement to understanding the entity and its environment, the auditor should consider the implication of the above matters while obtaining an understanding of the entity and its environment in light of its objectives, strategies, and other business risks. The auditor should also discuss with those charged with governance and management whether the impact of COVID-19 has been incorporated in their risk assessment processes and how they have identified and assessed the significance of the emerging business risks. The auditor should also consider if disclosures are required in the financial statements about the key assumptions made in reaching this conclusion. If the auditor has revised the risk assessment as a result, audit materiality may also need to be revised as the audit progresses. Reference must be made to SA 320, materiality in performing the audit. The financial statements have various items which would have been affected by the outbreak of COVID-19. A detailed list of them has been mentioned in the accounting advisory issued by ICAI. In addition to the detailed list of items of financial statement mentioned in the aforesaid advisory, a specific accounting issues could arise in the following areas. First, impairment of goodwill, plant, property, equipment, intangible assets and valuation, and impairment of receivables, loans and advances. Second, valuation of defined benefit plans and obligations due to significant changes in employee strength and devaluation of the underlying plan assets. Third, stock compensation performance conditions and obligations. Fourth, contractual penalties. Fifth, employment termination benefits. Sixth, insurance recoveries related to business interruptions. Seventh, onerous contract provisions. Eighth, allowances for expected credit losses. The above said items are likely to have significant accounting estimates to be made by the management. Significant assumptions, including projected cash flows used in these accounting estimates, may be affected by the impact of COVID-19. Hence, the auditor should use procedures as prescribed by SA 540, auditing accounting estimates, including fair value accounting estimates and related disclosure, to check whether 1. The accounting estimates, including fair value accounting estimates in the financial statements, whether recognized or disclosed, are reasonable, and 2. Related disclosures in the in the financial statements are adequate. Due to government imposed shutdowns or due to unavailability of the client personnel, it may not be practicable for most of the business entities to conduct physical verification of inventory as on the date of financial statements, that is 31st March 2020. The auditor must plan procedures depending upon the underlying circumstances, wherein the inventory count date could be advanced prior to the year end or deferred to a date after the year end. The auditor would need to comply with the procedures given in paragraph 5 and 7 read out in the paragraph A9 to A14 of SA 501, cited as: the physical inventory counting is conducted at a date other than the date of financial statement. The auditor shall, in addition to the procedures required by paragraph 4, perform audit procedures to obtain audit evidence about where the changes in the inventory between the count date and the date of financial statements are properly recorded. For practical reasons, the physical inventory counting may be conducted at a date or dates other than the date of financial statements. This may be done irrespective of whether management determines inventory quantities by an annual physical inventory counting or maintains a perpetual inventory system. In either case, the effectiveness of the design, implementation, and maintenance of control over the changes in an inventory determines whether the conduct of physical inventory counting at a date or dates other than the date of financial statement is appropriate for audit purposes. SA 330 establishes requirements and provides guidance on substantive procedures performed at an interim. C. Where a perpetual inventory system is maintained, management may perform physical counts or other tests to ascertain the reliability of inventory quantity information included in the entity's perpetual inventory records. In some cases, management or the auditor may identify differences between the perpetual inventory records and the actual physical inventory quantities on hand. This may indicate that the controls over changes in inventory are not operating effectively. So, the relevant matters for considering when designing audit procedures to obtain audit evidence about whether the changes in inventory amounts between the count date or the dates and the final inventory records are properly recorded include: first, whether the perpetual inventory records are properly adjusted; second, reliability of the entity's perpetual inventory records. Reasons for significant difference between the information obtained during the physical count and perpetual inventory records. If the attendance at physical inventory counting is impracticable, the auditor shall perform alternate audit procedures to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding the existence and condition of inventory. If it is not possible to do so, the auditor shall modify the opinion in the auditor's report in accordance with SA 705. In some cases, attendance at physical inventory counting may be impracticable. This may be due to factors such as nature, location of inventory. For example, where inventory is held in a location that may pose threats to the safety of the auditor, the matter of general inconvenience to the auditor, however, is not sufficient to support a decision by the auditor that attendance is impracticable. Further, as explained in SA 200, the matter of difficulty, time, or cost involved is not itself a valid basis for the auditor to omit an audit procedure for which there is no alternative to be satisfied with the audit evidence that is less pervasive. In some cases where attendance is impracticable, alternative audit procedures, for example, inspection of documentation of the subsequent sale of specific inventory items acquired or purchased prior to the physical inventory counting, may provide sufficient appropriate audit evidence about the existence and condition of inventory. In other hands, however, it may not be possible to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding the existence and condition of inventory by performing alternative audit procedures. In such cases, SA 705 requires the auditor to modify the opinion in the audit report as a result of scope limitation. As per the accounting advisory, the following must be followed by the management in preparation of financial statements. Entities to whom Ind AS is applicable: Ind AS 110, Consolidated Financial Statements. Ind AS 110 prescribes that the financial statements of parent and subsidiaries used in the preparation of consolidated financial statements are usually drawn upon the same date. It may be noted that in any case, difference between the reporting date should not be more than 3 months. For the entities to whom Ind AS is not applicable, the consolidated financial statement AS 21 is applicable. Okay, and AS 21 prescribes that the financial statement of parent and subsidiaries used in the preparation of consolidated financial statements are usually drawn upon the same date. It may be noted that in case difference between the reporting date should not be more than 6 months. In either of the above instances, if the financial information of the financial statement of the components are unavailable for the year ended 31st March 2020, the maximum difference between the reporting date cannot exceed the stated limits. The guidance note issued by ICAI states that in a case where the parent auditor is not the auditor of the components included in the consolidated financial statement, the auditor of the consolidated financial statement should consider the requirements of SA 600. What does SA 600 say? SA 600 says that using the work of another auditor, the principal auditor should perform procedures to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence that the work of the other auditor is adequate for the principal auditor's purpose in context of specific assignment, and should also consider the significant finding of the other auditor. By doing so, the principal auditor should consider how the impact of COVID-19, including travel bans, temporary suspension of business operations, government mandated leaves, etc., may affect the risk assessments, materiality, and the ability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence in respect of components. If principal auditor is unable to obtain adequate information or reporting from the component auditors, the principal auditor should express a qualified opinion or disclaimer of opinion because there is limitation on his scope. In the current scenario, the alternative means or methods to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence from the principal auditor or by the principal auditor from the component auditor are as follows. Can data be shared cross-border to allow the principal auditor for review? Could files be loaded into the cloud-based portal and login provided to the principal auditor? Local laws may restrict cross-border data sharing. If in doubt, advice should be sought on the local legal restrictions. Second option is, can video calls or screen sharing software can be used to discuss the work with the component auditor? Third could be, can the component auditor be asked to complete a detailed questionnaire or clearance on the work they have performed? Fourth would be, consider the outcome of prior visits, including visits during planning or at an intern stage. Other point could be, what work of the component auditor was previously reviewed? Consider the past work of the component auditor. Have there been any significant errors or issues? Or has the work been performed to a high standard? Can a more detailed memorandum be provided to the component auditor on what work should be done for the purpose of group reporting. What work can be done centrally by the principal auditor's team? If finance systems are integrated, data may be accessible for review by the principal auditor. Management may be able to provide information directly to the principal auditor to allow for testing. Each individual engagement will need to be assessed on a case-to-case basis to determine what may be appropriate. According to Ind AS 10, events occurring after the balance sheet date are categorized into two. First, adjusting events, that is, those requires adjustments to the amount recognized in its financial statements for the reporting period, and two, non-adjusting events, that those do not require adjustments to the amount recognized in its financial statements for the reporting period. In certain cases, management judgment may be required to categorize the event into one of the above categories. Similarly, in accordance with AS4, contingencies and events occurring after the balance sheet date, adjustments to assets and liabilities are required to be made for events occurring after the balance sheet date that provides additional information materially affecting the determination of the amounts relating to conditions existing at the balance sheet date. However, adjustments to assets and liabilities are not appropriate for events occurring after the balance sheet date if such events do not relate to conditions existing at the balance sheet date. Disclosure should be made in the report of the approving authority of those events occurring after the balance sheet date that represent material changes and commitments affecting the financial position of the enterprise. Entities must disclose significant recognition and measurement uncertainties that might have been created by the outbreak of COVID-19 in measuring various assets and liabilities. They should also disclose how they have dealt with the impact of COVID-19 on the financial position and financial performance of the entity. The auditor shall perform audit procedures designed to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence that all events occurring between the date of financial statements and the date of auditor's report that require adjustment of or disclosure in the financial statements have been identified. The auditor is not, however, expected to perform additional audit procedures on the matters to which previously applied audit procedures have provided satisfactory conclusions. The auditor shall perform the procedures required by paragraph 6 so that they can cover the period from the date of financial statements to the date of auditor's report, or as near as practicable thereto. The auditor shall take into account the auditor's risk assessment in determining the nature and extent of such audit procedures, which shall include the following: obtaining understanding of the procedures. Obtaining an understanding of any procedures management has established to ensure that the subsequent event are identified, inquiring the management and where appropriate with those charged with governance as to whether any subsequent event have occurred that might affect the financial statements. C. Reading the minutes, if any, of the meetings of the entity's owners, management, and those charged with governance that had been held after the balance sheet date, and inquiring about the matters discussed at any such meetings for which minutes are yet not available. Reading the entity's latest subsequent interim financial statements, if any, when as a result of the procedures performed as required in paragraph 6 and 7, the auditor identifies events that require adjustment of or disclosure in the financial statements, the auditor shall determine whether each such event is appropriately reflected in those financial statements. COVID-19 is resulting in significant operational disruption and presents an existential threat for many businesses. Entities and audit teams need to consider the implications on the assessment of going concern and viability in the financial report, and whether these circumstances will result in prolonged operational disruption, which will significantly erode the financial position of the entity or otherwise result in failure. This is critically important for the going concern assessment. Auditors need to consider whether the threat to liquidity as a result of supply/demand disruption presents a material uncertainty to the going concern status for the 12 months look forward period. SA 570 also requires auditors to consider events that may cast significant doubt on the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Beyond the period of management's assessment, audit teams should robustly assess the going concern and viability risks relating to COVID-19 threat in compliance with SA 570. This includes evaluating whether there is adequate support for the assumptions underlying the management's assessment for the consistency of these assumptions across the entity's business activities. As per the standard 570 going concern, the management's assessment of the entity's ability to continue as a going concern involves making a judgment at a particular point of time about inherently uncertain future outcomes of the events or conditions. The following factors are relevant to that judgment: the degree of uncertainty associated with the outcome of an event or condition increases significantly the further into future an event, a condition, or outcome occurs. For that reason, most financial reporting frameworks that require an explicit management assessment specify the period for which management is required to take into account all available information. The size and complexity of the entity, the nature and condition of its business, and the degree to which it is affected by external factors affect the judgment regarding the outcome of events or conditions. Any judgment about the future is based on information available at the time which the judgment is made. Subsequent events may result in outcomes that are inconsistent with the judgments that were reasonable at the time they were made. The auditor's responsibilities relating to going concern are mentioned in paragraphs 6 and 7 of SA 570 going concern. The auditor's responsibility are to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding and conclude on the appropriateness of the management's use of the going concern basis of accounting in the preparation of financial statement, and to conclude based on the audit evidence obtained whether a material uncertainty exists about an entity's ability to continue as a going concern or not. These responsibility exists even if the financial reporting framework used in the preparation of financial statement does not include an explicit requirement for the management to make specific assessment of the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. However, as described in SA 200, the potential effects of inherent limitations on the auditor's ability to detect the material misstatements are greater for future events or conditions that may cause the entity to cease to continue as a going concern. The auditor cannot predict such future events or conditions. Accordingly, the absence of any reference to a material uncertainty about the entity's ability to continue as a going concern in an auditor's report cannot be viewed as a guarantee as to the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. There could be several situations arising from the ongoing COVID-19 outbreak that could have an impact on the assumption relating to going concern. For some entities, the impact could be severe and may leave management with no realistic alternative but to liquidate or to cease the operation. There could also be entities which may have to scale down their operations while the impact may not be significant for other entities. It is the responsibility of the management to make the assessment as to whether the entity is a going concern. In assessing whether the going concern assumption is appropriate, management takes into account all available information about the future, which is at least but not limited to 12 months from the date when the financial statements are authorized for issue. The assessment will be specific to the entity's circumstances. In the current scenario, while making this assessment, management should generally be expected to prepare detailed forecast, which will require regular updation till the financial statements are authorized for issue. These forecasts should capture potential scenarios and the management's plan. Management should consider the impact of COVID-19 on customers, suppliers, and employees. For example, could the entity continue to operate if the employees are not able to physically present? And how reduced cash flows impact its working capital requirements. Management should also consider whether the insurance policy taken by the entity cover the losses arising from COVID-19. The auditor will only be able to form a conclusion relating to going concern once the management has made its own assessment. The auditor should inquire of the management and those charged with governance as to what information is available about the future and determine whether it has been appropriately considered as a part of management's assessment. The auditor should apply similar considerations to those of management as discussed above in assessing the appropriateness of the going concern assumption. This should, for example, include a detailed and robust view of up-to-date forecast, cash flow sensitivity analysis, and reviews of COVID-19 contingency plans and impact assessment conducted by the management. If events or conditions have been identified that may cast significant doubt on the entity's ability to continue as a going concern, the auditor shall obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to determine whether or not a material uncertainty exists. Given the level of uncertainty and the speed of the increasing impact of the COVID-19, the audit teams need to critically consider the current position at the point of sign-off as a part of the subsequent events review right up to the point of signing of the auditor's report, and may need further evidence and information by management, including updated financial models. If the entity is disclosing in the subsequent event disclosures that an estimate of the impact cannot be made due to the evolving situation, this may result in a material uncertainty on going concern within the audit report. Since a lot of estimation is involved regarding the impact of financial statements and assessment of going concern, in the current circumstances, management may take the assistance of management's expert, an expert in the field other than accounting and auditing, to make such estimates or assessments. As per paragraph 8 of Standard of Auditing 500, audit evidence, when information to be used as audit evidence has been prepared using the work of the management's expert, the auditor shall, to the extent necessary, having regard to the significance of the expert's work for the auditor's purpose, do three things. First, evaluate the competency, capability, and objectivity of that expert. Second, obtain an understanding of the work of that expert. And third, evaluate the appropriateness of that expert's work as audit evidence for the relevant assertion. As per SA 580, the auditor should obtain a written representations from the management regarding various estimates and assessment made by the management. The written representation should be exhaustive, containing the occurrence, method of measurement, completeness of the transaction recorded, and the disclosure of financial impact in the financial statements. Auditor need to assess whether any specific representation may be required to be obtained from the management in relation to the management's assessment of the impact from the ongoing outbreak of COVID-19 on the financial statements for the year ending 31st March 2020, as well as for the reasonable foreseeable future. The overall objectives of an auditor as per SA 200. Objectives of an independent auditor and the conduct of an audit in accordance with the standards on auditing are as follows. That is, to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion on whether the financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework, and to report on the financial statements and communicate as required by the SA in accordance with the auditor's finding. Auditor should form an opinion on the financial statements considering the principle enunciated in SA 700, SA 705 revised, since in the current scenario there are high probabilities of going concern being affected and the existence of material uncertainties relating to going concern. The principles enunciated in SA 570 also need to be considered, particularly paragraph 21 to 24, which prescribe manner of reporting in different situations. The auditor needs to carefully assess the situation, applying professional judgment and professional skepticism, and report accordingly. Some of the illustrative situations where the auditor may need to express a modified opinion due to COVID-19 are cited as follows. The auditor is unable to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence relating to the material component audited by the other auditor as per SA 600 due to COVID pandemic. The financial impact arising out of COVID-19 outbreak are not accounted or reported or disclosed as per the prescribed accounting standards in the financial statements. The other could be the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence relating to the impact of COVID-19 in the financial statements and is of the opinion that there are misstatements that are material to the financial statement. The auditor has communicated misstatements to the management and those charged with governance relating to COVID-19 as per SA 450, evaluation of misstatements identified during the audit, and management or those charged with governance refuses to correct such misstatements that are individual or in aggregate material to the financial statements. Reporting key audit matters. SA 701, communicating key audit matters in the independent auditor's report, deals with auditor's responsibility to communicate key audit matters in the auditor's report. Key audit matters are those matters that, in the auditor's professional judgment, were of most significance in the audit of financial statements of the current period. Key audit matters are selected from the matters communicated with those charged with governance. Auditor would need to comply with the procedures given in paragraph 9 of SA 701. That is, the auditor shall determine from the matters communicated with those charged with governance those matters that require significant auditor attention in performing the audit. In making this determination, the auditor shall take into account the following. First, areas of higher assessed risk of material misstatement or significant risk identified in accordance with SA 315. Second, significant auditor judgments relating to areas in the financial statements that involve significant management judgment, including auditing estimates that have been identified as high, having high estimation uncertainty. Third, the effect on audit of significant events or transactions that occurred during the period. The auditor should evaluate whether the impact of disruption caused because of COVID-19 to the operations of the entity, consequential impact on the financial statement, would be a key audit matter, and if determined so, the auditor would need to report the same along with how the matter was addressed in the audit. Other information, SA 720. This standard requires the auditor to read and consider other information because other information that is materially inconsistent with the financial statement or auditor's knowledge obtained in the audit may indicate that there is a material misstatement of financial statements or that a material misstatement of other information exists, either of which may undermine the credibility of the financial statements and the auditor's report thereon. Such material misstatement may also inappropriately influence the economic decisions of the users for whom the auditor's report is prepared. Other information may include the amounts or other items that are intended to be the same as to summarize or to provide greater detail about amounts or other items in the financial statement and other amounts or other items about which the auditor has obtained knowledge in the audit. Other information may also include other matters. Entities need to provide additional disclosure as a part of financial statements annual report with respect to the following areas. First, risk assessment. Entities may elaborate on existing reported risks with respect to calamities or add new ones related to COVID-19. Second, management discussion and analysis. Entities may include management's discussion and analysis of any material, current, and potential future impact on their operations, financial condition, and liquidity arising out of the entity's exposure to COVID-19 risks. Third, notes to the financial statements. Specific disclosures under the subsequent events, accounting standards, and any other specific account-specific disclosures. The auditor is required to read any other information disclosed in the financial report and consider whether the same is consistent with the financial statements and the auditor's knowledge obtained in the audit. In case of companies where the auditors have to issue a report on the internal financial controls or financial reporting, under Clause 1 of Subsection 3 of Section 143 of the Companies Act 2013, because of the impact of COVID-19, there could be additional consideration that needs to be considered as follows. 1. Company may need to implement new internal control or modify existing internal control over the financial reporting. 2. Evaluate whether any of the controls is not operating effectively on account of absence of concerned person due to illness, quarantine, working from home, isolation, travel, inaccessibility. Third, identify alternate controls. Fourth, company's ability to close financial reporting process in time. Fifth, company's ability to design, implement controls related to selection and application of generally accepted accounting principles, that is GAAP, for accounting and disclosure issues arising from COVID-19. The auditor's responses to assessed risk requires that the auditor obtain more persuasive audit evidence. The higher the auditor's assessment of risk. To do this, the auditor may increase the quantity of evidence or obtain evidence that is more relevant or reliable or both. For example, the auditor may place more emphasis on obtaining evidence directly from third parties or obtaining corroborative evidence from a number of independent sources. SA 330 also indicates that external confirmation procedures may assist the auditor in obtaining the audit evidence with a high level of reliability that the auditor requires to respond to significant risks of material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. SA 240 indicates that the auditor may design confirmation requests to obtain additional corroborative information as response to address the assessed risk of material misstatement, whether due to fraud at the assertion level. SA 500 indicates that corroborative information obtained from a source independent of the entity, such as external confirmation, may increase the assurance the auditor obtains from evidence existing within the accounting records or from the representation made by the management. SA 505 External Confirmation provides guidance regarding the process of seeking external confirmations and evaluating the results of the process. Due to the impact of COVID-19, it is more likely that the key audit procedure, which provides significant independent audit evidence, may be ineffective due to inadequate responses or non-responses of the confirmation request sent out. The reliability of responses to the confirmation request. If the auditor identifies factors that give rise to doubts about the reliability of the response to the confirmation request, the auditor shall obtain further audit evidence to resolve these doubts. If the auditor determines that a response to the confirmation request is not reliable, the auditor shall evaluate the implications on the assessment of the relevant risk of material misstatement, including the risk of fraud, and on the related nature, timing, and extent of other audit procedures. In case of a non-response, the auditor shall perform alternate audit procedure to obtain the relevant, reliable audit evidence. Examples of alternative audit procedures that the auditor may perform include: for accounts receivable balances, examining the specific subsequent cash receipts, shipping documentation, and sales near the period end. For accounts payable balances, examining the subsequent cash disbursement or correspondence from third parties and other records such as goods received notes. The nature and extent of alternative audit procedures are affected by the account and assertion in question. A non-response to a confirmation request may indicate previously unidentified risk of material misstatement. In such situations, the auditor may need to revise the assessed risk of material misstatement at assertion level and modify planned audit procedures in accordance with SA 315. For example, fewer responses to the confirmation request than anticipated, or a greater number of responses than anticipated, may indicate previously unidentified fraud risk factors that requires evaluation in accordance with SA 240. Paragraph 5 of SA 240 states that an auditor conducting an audit in accordance with standards on auditing is responsible for obtaining reasonable assurance that the financial statement taken as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether caused by fraud or error. Owing to the inherent limitations of an audit, there is an unavoidable risk that some material misstatement of financial statement may not be detected, even though the audit is properly planned and performed in accordance with the standards. As stated in paragraph 12 of SA 240, the auditor shall maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. Recognizing the possibility that a material misstatement due to fraud could exist, notwithstanding the auditor's past experience of the honesty and integrity of the entity's management and those charged with governance, the impact of COVID-19 on the businesses could be very significant and could put pressures on the management to meet the performance target of market expectations. This raises the risk of likelihood of fraud in the financial statements to a higher level, which requires that the auditor to exercise a much higher degree of skepticism and carry out the extended audit procedures to eliminate the possibility of fraud or material error in the financial statements. In carrying out the audit for the financial year ending 31st March 2020, the auditors must particularly be mindful of the heightened risk of fraud and comply with governance Guidance provided by SA 240, the auditor's responsibility in relating to fraud in an audit of financial statements. The impact of COVID 19 on the economy, financial markets, and entities in particular continues to evolve. The role of auditors at the time of this is under increased scrutiny as the auditor have a public interest obligation to complete the audit work in accordance with the professional standards and ethic requirement. Under the current circumstances, the auditor must recognize the manner in which they conduct the audit in the past may need a significant modification to address the challenges and uncertainties arising out of the impact of COVID-19. Auditors should increase a very high degree of skepticism and be prepared to call out where the company's narrative that the board presents is not specific enough and does not tell the whole story of various scenarios and the level of uncertainty specific to the company's operation. Irrespective of the challenges and uncertainties, there should not be any dilution or non-compliance with the auditing standards in carrying out the audits. At the end, I hope you liked the video. If you really did, please click the like button below. Please subscribe to our channel. We'll be constantly putting up such videos for the benefit of the community as a whole. Thank you.